His word. So turn with me to 1 Samuel chapter 30. 1 Samuel 30. We're going to look at verses 1 through 6. Samuel 31 through 6. We're not resting on your feet as we read from God's word from the King James Version. And it reads, "It came to pass when David and his men would come to Ziklag on the third day that the Amalekites had invaded the south of Ziklag and smitten Ziklag and burned it with fire, and had taken the women captives that were therein. They slew not any, either great or small, but carried them away. They carried them away and went on their way. So David and his men came to the city, and behold, it was burned with fire. Their wives and their sons and their daughters were taken captive. Then David and the people with him lifted up their voice and wept until they had no more power to weep. David's two wives were taken captive, Ahinoam and Jezreel, Latez, and Abigail, the wife of Nabal the Carmelite. David was greatly distressed, for the people spake of stoning him, because the soul of all the people were grieved, every man for his sons, for his daughters. But David encouraged himself in the Lord his God. But David encouraged himself in the Lord his God. David encouraged himself. My subject for this sermonic presentation is I'm checking myself in. Find three people as you take your seat and tell them I'm checking myself in. Checking myself in. If you or somebody you know in your family or in your circle of friends has ever struggled with any kind of addiction, particularly drug addictions, one of the ways that they help people who are struggling in such a way is this program they call intervention. Everybody say intervention. Intervention is a way of treating a person who is trying to free themselves from some type of addiction. It is a way that they submit themselves, or sometimes not even submit themselves. Sometimes the family has to intervene and force them to go into this intervention. But a part of this intervention is a process that they call withdrawal. If I say withdrawal. And in this process of withdrawal, the addict is placed and isolated in a room, watch this, with the intent of causing his urges and desire for the drugs to come to the surface. To cause him to have an intense craving for what they cannot have and what they can't get to. The premise is to starve the addiction. The addict is to literally get hungry for the drugs and not have any available means to feed that hunger. They're placed in a room cut off from mainstream society with no means of communicating with anybody, placed alone to starve their addiction. This time of withdrawal is beneficial, but it is also painful. The one who submits to this withdrawal process as they starve their addiction must allow their bodies to go through various crises. Causes them to have physical, emotional, psychological pain, trauma, and anxiety. But it's benefits. It's beneficial because the ends justify the means. This withdrawal strategy is a process. Watch this. This withdrawal process is a strategy by which you cure a crisis with a crisis. You cure a crisis with a crisis. And the crisis they don't want is the crisis they need in order to help them overcome the crisis they're struggling with. It's going to make sense in a minute. I'm suggesting to you that sometimes that some crisis is actually a healthy crisis. It's bad to you, but it's good for you. Sometimes God uses this method of creating crisis to heal a crisis on the church and its believers. Sometimes God will subject a believer to a crisis in order to heal a crisis. Right? So could it be possible that the thing you are feeling, the pain you're feeling right now, is not the work of the devil? I'm trying to tell you that sometimes healing hurts. Sometimes healing hurts. You know this if you've ever had surgery where they had to cut on you to get something out of you. And you woke up after the surgery, you woke up to agonizing pain. They got rid of the problem, but they removed the trauma, they removed the tumor, they removed the growth, but you can't just jump up out of the bed and rejoice over the fact that it's gone, because now you got to deal with healing pain. Pain got you in surgery. Pain gonna bring you away from the surgery. What kind of pain is God allowing you to go through in order to get you healed? Please understand that sometimes in order to get healed, you got to get hurt. It's not comfortable. It's not nice. It's not what you desired. It's not what you wanted. It's not welcome. But there are times when pain is necessary. I told the other night that pain gets a bad rap. Pain is always thought of as negative in our life, but you mess around and step on a piece of glass and don't feel nothing. You step on a piece of glass and you don't feel nothing, you're going to bleed out. Pain shows up to holler, hey! Something's wrong down here. You better come see about this before we bleed out. Trying to tell you, sometimes pain is necessary. Do you not know that the cross was medicine for humanity, but it was pain for Christ? His hurting was my healing. Oh God. Tell your neighbor, take your medicine, take your... Come on, they didn't take their medicine. If I don't know, tell them, take your medicine. Take it. See, that's why you acted a fool the other day, because you didn't take your medicine. Y'all ain't gonna help me in this place today. That's why you acted up the other day, because you didn't take your medicine. Because with just one drop of the blood of Jesus, just one drop, just one drop of the blood of Jesus, straighten up a fool and make him start acting right if he takes his medicine. Just one drop, just one drop, just one drop of the blood of Jesus to make a foolish man come straight home after work. Somebody say one drop, one drop. Oh, to push somebody, say, take your medicine, take it. Maybe God has to hurt you in order to heal you from the thing you can't free yourself from. I know that doesn't sound good, but I got to tell you, that's good news. That's good news, because I'm telling you that some of the stuff you're going through right now, some of the trouble you're having right now has been initiated by God in order to heal you from a crisis that you can't heal yourself from. And that, my brothers and sisters, is good news. It's good news, because I need to know that with all of the trouble I'm going through, I need to know that some devil didn't get loose in my life and trying to wreck my life. I need to know that it's not the devil. Y'all ain't gonna help me today. I need to know that the devil, that it's not the devil trying to kill me, but it's God trying to build me. I need to know that Satan had snatched the steering wheel in my life from God, and now he's trying to drive my life straight to hell. I need to know that even though it looks like the devil has the upper hand, and blood against Lord seems to be all around my life, I need to know that even though I feel like I've become a prey to satanic attack and wickedness, I need to know that sooner or later, God's going to turn this thing around. I need to know that God's going to do something in my life sooner or later that makes sense. Tell somebody, I need to know it's God. I need to know. I need to know. I need to know it ain't the devil. I need to know it's God working it out for me. I text there's a hit on David's life because the king is jealous of him. The king, who has everything, is jealous of a shepherd boy who has nothing. All David has is a promise. Y'all don't know where to get at. All David, he's still tending sheep, but he got a promise. Lord have mercy. He's still working and picking up sheep dung, but he got a promise. So you need to get to a place where you can survive off of your promise. Because he's not a man that he can lie. We often hear folks say, I don't look like what I've been through. Can y'all just say, I don't look like what I've been through? That is to say that I've been through so much in my life, I really shouldn't look as good as I look. Right? I don't look like, say it again, I don't look like what I've been through. But here's what's also true about me. Tell your neighbor, here's what's also true about me. Come on, tell him, here's what's also true about me. Say, not only do I not look like what I've been through. Is that too many words? Say it again. Say, not only do I not look like what I've been through. And I gotta treat y'all like pre-K. But tell them this, I also don't look like what I'm going to. You don't see it yet. You don't understand yet. I don't look like what's gonna be yet. It does not yet appear what I shall be. Good God. Tell somebody my best days are ahead of me. Come on, you better put something prophetic on that. Tell them my best days are ahead of me. But how can you have so much, how can you have such a great destiny and be in such a horrific situation? Please understand that your predicament that you're in right now does not define your destiny. Let me say that again. The predicament you're in right now does not define your destiny. Okay, this group got it. This group didn't get it. I said the predicament you're in right now does not define your destiny. You've got to learn to do what David did when things are not lining up with what God promised you. And you got to learn how to encourage yourself. When everybody else wanted to stone David, y'all know what he did? When everybody else wanted to stone David, David started talking to himself. You know they say crazy folk talk to themselves. But I want to tell you, you're crazy if you don't talk to yourself. You're crazy if you, listen, you ought to get to a place where you not only talk to yourself, but that you talk to your situation. You ought to go back to every negative situation in your house and tell that situation you're a liar. Come on, somebody shout, man, you're a liar. You're a liar. I'm talking to your situation that's trying to tell you what you can't do, what you cannot be. Come on, shout again. You're a liar. Somebody in here today needs to walk in your apartment, or you need to walk in that room you live in, or you need to walk in your house that you're renting. And you need to say to that house, you're a liar. Y'all ain't gonna help me anyway. You need to tell that apartment, you've been lying to me all these years. I'm better than this. I don't have to keep paying rent. I can own it myself. I don't have to keep giving somebody else money for something that'll never be mine. You're a liar! All right, some of y'all need to go talk to your beds. You single people, single folk, you need to go talk to your bed and tell your bed, babe, you're a liar. I will not hold around. You're a liar. Y'all help me today. Let's make that bed stop lying to you, telling you that you gotta lay down to show somebody you love. All right. All that stuff been lying to you. You've been believing the lie. Well, he gonna love me if I do this. He's a liar. That bed's a liar. Preacher brother, y'all looking at me today. David said, The Bible says David and his men cried until they had no more power to give their tears to their sorrow. And then the soldiers, watch this y'all, the soldiers turned on David. The ones who were fighting with him turned on him. The Bible said they picked up stones to throw at David. Folk don't pick up stones today, but they sure pick up a lot of words to throw at you. David, you're a sorry leader. David, you're a loser. David, all this is your fault. But David started talking to himself because he understands that it's not what they call you, it's what you call yourself. And when you repeat to yourself the positivity of who you are, when you repeat to yourself the positivity of who you are, you delete the negative words that's been spoken over your life. You hear what I said? When you repeat to yourself, when you say to yourself the positivity of who you are, you delete the negative stuff that's been spoken to you. Every voice that said you'll never be nothing, you got to call it out. And say, hey, you're a liar. Say it again, you're a liar. Touch your neighbor and say, I'm calling out all liars this evening, this morning. Tell them I'm calling out all lies this morning. Sickness, you're a liar. Failure, you're a liar. Depression, you're a liar. Suicidal thoughts, you're a liar. Money that told you you ain't enough to pay your bills. Ain't enough for you to get by on. Money! You're a liar. Cancer! You're a liar. Broken marriage! You're a liar. Boyfriend! You're a liar. Sexual identity confusion! You're a liar. Devil! I abort every lying seed. I abort every lying seed that has attached itself to the wound of your life, that's trying to birth itself in your life, and I abort that seed in the name of Jesus. Okay, some of y'all still ain't feeling me. Some of y'all still ain't feeling me. Tell you what you need to do. For those of you who ain't feeling me yet, what you need to do is you need to turn in your mirror. Tell your neighbor, turn in your mirror. Come on, find somebody else. Tell them you need to turn in your mirror. Find somebody else. Tell them don't take it personal, but you need to turn in your mirror. In Exodus 38, when the men were bringing their offering, their gold, and all of this to build the golden lever for God, the women didn't have what the men had, so the women turned in their mirrors. Lord have mercy. In order to build the tabernacle, the women turned in their mirror. The women gave their mirror up to be symbolic of the fact of how they saw themselves. You've got to be willing to give God how you see yourself before he can show you who you really are. Lord have mercy. You'll never be able to become the person that God called you to be until you are willing to give up your mirror. By mirror, I'm talking about your personal image as to how you see yourself. The Bible is clear that we were created in the image of God. We were created in the image of God, but in the fall, we lost our image. So now, your self-image is distorted. Your self-image is distorted. The women gave them mirrors because the mirrors captured their image as to how they saw themselves. They gave their mirror to God so that the mirror would be melted down, reorganized, and then repolished so that the leather would reflect a new image. Lord have mercy. Understand, mirrors back then were not made of the glass that we have today. Their mirrors were made of bronze or polished brass. And they gave this polished brass, these mirrors, as an offering from God. Here's my image. Here's how I see myself. They gave it to God. I will never again be defined by what I've been through. Giving God my image. This looking glass has been lying to me. I am who God says I am. I can do what God says I can do. I can have what God says I can have. Somebody needs to turn in their image, their mirror this morning, because your mirror has been lying to you. Defining you by what you've been through. You need to give your mirror over to God and let God beat that mirror down, change it, and give you a new reflection of who you really are. Yeah. Somebody say, beat it down, Lord. Come on, say it again. Beat it down, Lord. Beat it down. Come on, shout it. Beat it down, Lord. Beat it down until every woman in this room starts walking like the queen that God called her to be. Somebody say, beat it down, Lord. Beat it down until every man in this room stands up and becomes the king that God has called him to be. Somebody shout, beat it down, Lord. Beat it down until every child, boy, and girl become the prince and the princess that God has destined for them to be. Somebody shout, beat it down, Lord. God says, I will do a new thing in you. I'll do a new thing in you. And when God does that new thing in you, you can tell every devil, every witch, every hater, every enemy that I'm a new creation in Christ Jesus. Lord have mercy. There was something, somebody say I'm a new creation. Come on, tell your neighbor, look at me. I'm a new creation. Listen, there were some things that you used to be able to do to me that would make me cry. You used to be able to do things to me that would make me want to give up. You used to be able to do things to me that would hurt me and disappoint me. But I'm over it now. Somebody shout, I'm over it now. I'm over it now. Listen, I might look like the same person. I might live at the same address. I might answer to the same name. But I'm over it now. And let me tell you this while we're on the subject. While we're on this subject, I'm over it now, but I'm over it now. While we're on the subject, since we're here right now, that mess you tried on me before, don't you try it no more. I used to let you walk on me, but don't try that mess no more. reach out and try to hit me with your hand, you might come back with a middle. Don't try to come on. Spirit is speaking. Spirit is speaking. So we go cut somebody. Don't y'all say that. We need to have a mirror breaking service in here. So we need to have a mirror breaking service in here. Because somebody has a distorted image. Somebody has a distorted image of who you are. You're 40 years old. You look in the mirror and you still see that 12-year-old person who was victimized. 40 years old and you still see that time when you were hurt. You look in the mirror and all you see is somebody who will never measure up because of what was done to you, and you'll become trapped in your mirror. You become stuck in your mirror and you can't move forward because your image is distorted. The ghost of your past is sabotaging your future. Who am I talking to today? Sometimes healing hurts, you know. Sometimes in order to heal you, God's got to crush you. You got to do it. I got to allow God to change me. I got to allow God to change how I see myself. It's not about how many likes you get on Facebook. I can get 1,000 likes, but if I don't like myself, it doesn't matter how much you doctor up your photo, lighten your skin, darken your skin, enhance this, minimize that, and post it on Instagram. Because it's not about how people see you. It's about how you see yourself. You've seen people who are anorexic. She could be a grown woman. She weighs 78 pounds. Grotesquely underweight. But when she looks in the mirror, she walks away from the mirror saying, I'm too fat. How can she possibly think she's too fat when she's only 78 pounds? What you don't understand is that the problem is not on the outside. The problem is on the inside. The problem is not how she sees herself with her eyes, but how she sees herself in her own mind. The alcoholic's problem is not the alcohol. The alcohol is what he uses to drown the real problem. He drinks to drown himself because of how he sees himself. Taking the bottle from him is not going to solve anything. He needs to turn in his mirror. You're not a crackhead, it's your mirror. You're not a deadbeat dad. It's your mirror. You're not a promiscuous woman, it's your mirror. You're not a lost teenager. It's your mirror. You're not a hopeless case. It's your mirror. You're not dumb, stupid, or ignorant. It's your mirror. Come on, somebody shout, I'm breaking my mirror. I tell you what you're afraid of when it comes to breaking your mirror. Can I tell you what you are leery about when it comes to breaking your mirror? You are afraid of losing what's familiar to you. Your life has been lined up a certain way. You're not married, you're shacking up, but all your bills get paid. Everything's been taken care of. And you're afraid to change that because that's what you're familiar with. That's why you won't break your mirror. But I want to tell somebody in here today who is listening to me that you can make it on broken pieces. I said you can make it on broken pieces. Paul was a prisoner on the ship. I'm closing. Paul was a prisoner on the ship when the storm broke out. The storm got so bad that it threatened to destroy the ship. All night they're battling the ship. Paul wakes up the next morning and tells all the passengers, don't worry. Don't worry. God came to me in a dream last night. God told me that if you stay with the ship, not a head would be lost. He says, no matter what happens, don't abandon the ship. Stay with the ship. Now you would think after you get a word from God, things will change just like that. You would think once you hear from God, everything is hunky-dory now, but after they got this word, y'all, listen, after they got this word, things went from bad to worse. Got a word that deliverance is on the way. But instead of things getting better, things got worse. Life often happens that way. Sometimes things just fall apart. The ship, the thing that was carrying them, the thing that kept them afloat, the thing they depended on, began to slowly fall apart after they got a word from God. They frantically tried, watch. They do everything in their power to hold the ship together. They do everything they can to hold the ship together. The Bible says they even threw ropes around the ship to try to tie it, to hold it together. But in spite of all of their efforts, the ship they loved, the ship they knew, the ship they depended on, fell apart. But if I can jump to the end of the story, the Bible says, watch, after the ship fell apart, the Bible says that some on boards, some on planks, some on pieces of the ship, grabbed a hold of the broken piece, and they made it to the ship. There comes a time you've got to stop grieving over the ship. Here's why you're grieving. Grieving because you're in love with what you had. They started the journey on a boat. They finished on planks and broken pieces. Key word is finish. Our problem is you think that if your life doesn't retain the shape you started out with, everything is lost. Not so. Not so. You don't believe that you can get there on what you got left. Not so. Here's the thing. The boat didn't cease to exist. It just took on another form. You still got the same thing you had. Still got the same power you had. Still got the same strength you had. It's just that sometimes God allows it to take on another form. May not be comfortable. God knows it may not be smooth sailing. But the story is telling to teach us that even when life takes on another form and it's all broken into pieces, you just got to learn how to grab a hold to what you got left. Some on boats, some on broken pieces made it safely to the shore. Just because things are broken in your life don't mean you can't survive. Stop trying to glue the boat back together. It may not ever again look like it was. Grab a hold of what's near you. Hold on to what you got left. You cannot be saved by what it was. You can only be saved by what it is. Tell somebody, grab hold of what you got. Not what it used to be, but it's enough to get you where you need to go. I'm going to tell somebody, I'm going to make it on what I got now. Can't make it on what you lost. Can't make it on what you used to have. Can't make it on what it used to be. Can't make it on what we used to do. God did not promise to save the boat. God promised to save me. So please understand, you can make it on broken pieces. Stop focusing on what you lost. Start living on what you got left. Every blessing didn't come to stay. Every relationship wasn't meant to last. Every friend is not a lifelong friend. God will send people in your life for a season because that's what you needed at that time in your life. So when they leave, don't pitch a tent at the graveside of that relationship. Because if you still needed them, they would have stayed. Everything that left me could not stay. And everything that stayed cannot leave. Come on, shout as loud as you can. It's over now. Come on, shout again. It's over now. You got to learn to let some things go. So shout again. It's over now. And it does not mean that the folk who leave you are bad people. It just means that their part of your story is over. And when it's time for them to move on, you can't stop it. Come on, man. God's trying to get you somewhere. God's trying to get you somewhere.